Okay, so I have just looked through my whole videos and just realized that I have been uploading every day for the past 25 days. I think that's actually like a record. I don't think I've ever uploaded that much in such a short amount of time consistently. So when it comes down to it, I feel like it'd be wrong if I just let that streak die. At least I want to reach 30 days at least to get a month's time in before, just dropping it if I decide to take a day off or so. But when it comes down to it though, I also, besides that, want to kind of bring up the topic of loli again, just to kind of yap about it and also kind of think about it a little bit more in a more vocal way, because when I was really kind of thinking about it, or at least what I wanted to talk about it, I was kind of just like, what else can be really said? Because I said like a ton of things before, and it's like there's not really much new I can really bring up outside of the times where there's some news about it could get hit with like some type of weird ass law, like we kind of talked about with the Texas thing and all that sort of stuff, and people kind of bringing up their own 2 cents about it. And it's just like, what else could there really be said? The only other thing I could really think of to kind of talk about is that I remember quite a fair amount of people before have called me like a very vocal lolicon, and honestly, am I? I don't really know. I don't really know if I would say that. I don't really know if I could. And to be honest, I don't know if I really should let that matter to me at all, because at the end of the day, I just don't want shit get censored. That's really what my whole like goal is. I just don't want shit to get censored, and then we end up getting hit with some nonsense for whatever reason, and then ultimately it just causes a lot of weird ass things to just happen, right? And you would think, oh, it's just lolly. Why was that like something that don't need to be censored or anything like that? It's because it not only, yes, you can use it for like good Gentile material content, because trust me, there is a gracious amounts of it. Like, have you seen a bit of Eerie? I wish there was more of her twerking that ass out, I'm not gonna lie. But then there's also like storytelling devices of why it's used in a normal sense and way. And there is also people that like to use it for like a messaging type of purpose and all that type of stuff. And it'll be more harm than actually trying to get rid of it than doing some type of good. I would say, at least when it comes down to it, because ultimately there is many uses for it, not just even in anime, but in cartoons and things as well. There is things that cartoons and fiction can use it for, where live action can absolutely not use it for. And like I said before, trying to ban something like that too, especially when you really think about it, it's also kind of like spitting on Japanese culture as well, considering again it's the main reason why anime is the way it is. So I feel like it'll be a bit of cap as well too. So it just wouldn't be good to ban it. And then as I kind of said all that, a thought really just hit me. It feels like, at least in my personal opinion, I might be wrong, but you know how we kind of all miss like the old anime community, how basically we all have our own opinions and things or whatever, and it's like a tight-knit community, and it was fine the way it was, and it wasn't exploded as it is now. That's kind of what lolly feels like. It feels like it's just it has its audience for the niche people that jump into it, that enjoys it for what it is, and it's so weird and out there that not a lot of people would want to jump into it. And it high-key feels like it is the last bastion of just good old OG anime fans to enjoy some regular content. And I feel like a beautiful thing about lolly too is that it's something that you just can't sit here and just fake and try to be a fake lolicon about, because you have to, if you really wanted the actual experience, you're gonna have to enjoy you some lolicon material. You're gonna have to enjoy Erie's ass cheeks clapping all the time, or Pan just getting her ass cheeks ate out. It is what it is. It doesn't necessarily matter. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to deal with that, because that's just how it is. Honestly, liking lolly is kind of like a giant ass vibe check to see who's actually just really here for the nicheness, and who really is here for like the actual tight knittedness of the community aspect of things, versus just being here because the shit it's popular. Because we already know how those type of people are. They just want to ban everything, try to make it bend to their will, and just be absolute dog water. So it's not really the greatest time. And I said this again, and I've kind of stated this multiple times in multiple videos, but I would not mind being like I guess I wouldn't say an advocate, but like someone that just basically be super hard pro for, I guess, like lolicon content and stuff like that. And the reason why is for that is mainly it's just to basically make sure that no censorship kind of hits it. Because again, something like that happens, it'll be a really ridiculous time. And it's something where if it were to happen, I can't take any public figure seriously after that. Like, I genuinely couldn't. I mean, I'm just being honest. If you could sit here and just try to ban loli or anything of the sort like that that is attached to it, and you want to go basically try to ban that, but not necessarily release the Island Man's files, a certain set of files that's been, you know, quote unquote released, but not really. And you could do all this banning of loli, but not do that. I still, again, that is by far the most ridiculous thing possible that could absolutely happen. So hopefully it just will never get banned, honestly. I know Chibi was also bringing that whole Texas thing up too, and he was saying how it can never really get 100% banned like that. I'll say never, and the reason for that is because you never really know how people can be. Sure, maybe the likelihood of it getting banned and stuff like that is low, but you can never really say it's zero, right? Because there's always going to be some weird ass time where people might do weird ass shit to revoke shit or whatever. And we just hope that doesn't happen. That's just really how it is. Like, and I'll keep it very much a stack. I don't want to necessarily be in a world where I can't look at Kaneko's fat, juicy ass anymore. Like, I'm just going to keep it very much a stack. I'll be pretty pissed if you know, some ass cheeks of that variety got banned and I can't look at that shit no more. It would piss me off to a high ass degree. And hell, to kind of even add more to that note, I wouldn't be able to even like do the whole rule to the 4 tag thing if basically we can't necessarily clap cheeks of certain characters. If I can't get inside of Chi-Chi's cheeks at the end of the day, if that were to come to pass, like, I'm not necessarily gonna sit here and lie, I'll be pretty much upset and folded. Like, I'm not necessarily gonna lie. Them zombie cheeks need to be clapped up very much quickly, and I'll be damned if something like that can't happen. I'm throwing a damn chocolate at somebody getting hit like a Spanish mom. It is what it is. But going back to the whole loli being niche thing, the only thing I do hate about loli being niche at times though is the fact that people nowadays just keep trying to use like the PDF file word and try to, you know, use it for everything, and it just ultimately watered the word down now. Hell, you can't necessarily look on Twitter anymore and call somebody out, calling them that specific thing, and not necessarily think, oh, is it loli related? Because that's kind of what most people look at it now. You can easily see here, just be like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's some type of weirdo. And then immediately you gotta check and see, are you talking about anime or are you talking about something real? And that's sad. That's genuinely sad. It shouldn't even come down to be like that. Yet for whatever reason, it just is. Well, actually, we know what the reason is, because of bitch ass aunties. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't have to be like that, yet it is, right? We should be able to separate fiction from reality, but unfortunately we got a new generation of people that are complete dumbasses that don't know anything and how to separate themselves from social media for 5 seconds. And then we have obviously the older generation that still has dumbasses in there, but at least they can kind of somewhat sometimes understand what the difference is between social media, reality, and fiction, and many other things as well. So there is definitely that, at least. But it's always just weird how people kind of interact with like just loli that just don't really care for it. And then it's even more weirder again with the ban stuff too, like, because like if loli were to get banned genuinely, like, I'm pretty sure Sony and all these other companies that have these streaming services will be pretty pissed off, because I don't think they will be able to just show any of these shows off, and they could be like proper, like really good popular shows, only for them to get banned because, you know, nobody wanted to step up and actually try to keep it around and all that type of stuff. And that's a very real thing that could also, you know, be a thing that could happen if it were to get to that point. Hopefully, again, it doesn't have to. You know, at the end of the day, I would just like to chill, sit around, kind of just enjoy looking at, a lolly shaking some ass cheeks together, grinding up on the stripper pole, and just have a nice ass day, right? And again, I feel like we have to touch upon all types of ground because of how people kind of acts towards lolicons and all that type of stuff, because it's like, oh, lolicons, they only like this one thing and that's it, when in truth we like all kinds of things. We are basically regular people but just like this one aspect of things, and that's really about it. It's not really that hard for people to grasp, or it shouldn't be, and yet it is. And it's weird as hell every single time. Like, bruh, hell yeah, I want to eat Erie and Pan's ass. That doesn't necessarily mean I don't want to eat Ochako's and Bulma's ass. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, it's crazy, So it's just like, we like all sorts of things at the very same time, just like everybody else, but we just also don't necessarily mind lolicon content either. And it's crazy how many times people will go as far as to try to spin it and be like, oh, it's this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing. Hell, I think even like there was like a video talking about another anime YouTuber, or at least old anime YouTuber, Heavenly Controller, and they try to use that for like the justification as to why that man fell off. And I'm like, he wasn't even about that. I don't even think he was, like, to a high-ass degree. I don't really think that's how it works, sir. I'm pretty certain. You just kind of just added that in there just to kind of bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. At least as far as I've seen this shit, because it's just a bit weird how you kind of added that shit there too. It's just like, that's not how it works. I don't remember this man talking about some fat-ass dumpy lollies. I don't remember him talking about anything like that. So what are we talking about here, And it's also that type of projection that also makes people wonder if there's some skeletons in other people's closets too, So it's just across the board, it is always going to be in a bottle of nonsense of how lolly is getting talked about basically every single day. It will always be a weird ass battle every single time. I mean, it really is just something that we just kind of have to deal with, just the randomness of people and how they kind of perceive it. Which, funny enough, again, even though people do be saying they hate it a lot, it's funny to say that when so many people don't necessarily seem to mind it either. So it's like, you gotta also realize there's tons of people that genuinely don't mind it. As far as I can see, at least when I came down to that post of talking about some oiled up Anya lollies and all that type of stuff, I think that reached like 31,000 people on that one Twitter post alone. So what's that about people not necessarily liking lollies? I don't understand that one. You're gonna have to explain why 31,000 people enjoyed the shit out of that one damn post I did, which is still funny as hell. The only thing I guess I could say, just to kind of end off everything though, is I guess I wish, to a extent, because I still don't want it to be mainstream, but I kind of wish lollies could be a little bit more accepted, and so people that don't necessarily have to be afraid of it, can just jump in. Because there is, hell, even people, when it comes to modding games, people have talked about recently, I guess, like modding Pan in Sparking Zero and try to get a new mod for that going. And then I think there was also like, no one have ever in Ninja Storm 4 looted and nude modded Sarda, I don't think. So it's like, it would be nice to see, people stop being like also overprotective over something that's fictional, and just kind of just let people rock the shit they want to rock. Again, if you want to see a naked ass Pan, I wanted to, and just see her in Sparking Zero like that, I don't see why you can't. Right? I don't see a reason for that, or why not. Hell, if we can have Goku with his dick out back in Dragon Ball, I can see Big Booty Pan in, Sparking Zero. So I don't see why that's a damn problem though, that's just me being me though. But ultimately, lollies are great. They're fine, they're hot, they're equally just needs to be riding on my meat. There's not really anything I could really sit here and say, obviously, that is just a fat negative. When it comes down to it, sure, you definitely overly like it a little too dang much, because that can go with basically anything. And obviously, yes, you're gonna have bad actors within that space too, who try to go for some actual evil shit, but thankfully other lolicons do call that shit out when it does happen. And when it comes down to it though, will have problems. There will always be, challenges and issues when it comes down to it. But I don't necessarily think that means, oh, loli should just go bye-bye or something like that. At the end of the day, it should stick around, it should be there, and if you want prime time eerie cheeks in your face, you should be able to accept that and just deal with that, right? It is what it is. And then also at the same time too, I know I'm about to say about the end, but let me add one more thing. It's funny how people be like, "Oh, we don't necessarily like lollies and whatever," yet when it comes down to certain characters, y'all take the first version of that character and then use it for whatever reason. Like Gwen Tennyson, you still, to this day, people will always draw the first version of Gwen instead of any other version of her. And it's like, oh, so you do like loli, you're just being bullshit about it. Like, that's just how it is. When you age up the character or whatever, it's like, no, that's just you bullshitting about it, at least to me. So, just like Gwen for what it is, just like her for what it is. She is bad. She about bad as hell. I don't see why you wouldn't, just go ahead, clap her cheeks and be done with it. Just say you want to clap her cheeks and be done with it. Same way I want to say about Janora or anybody else, literally. So it is what it is. People like Gargura and all that type of stuff, and then be like, oh, I didn't know. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Just say you want to blow your load on Gargura's face and call it a day, literally. But that's really all I gotta say again for everything. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow me on my socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And also let me know in the comments, what loli would you like to clap? Which one would you like to go for as well? Because hell, if we can add fairies to this list, Gallica should be on this list as well. But until then, it's been your boy Jay, sign off. Have a blessed day.